For 8 years, I went through what they went through in India. And for 6 years,
No. We experienced something similar.
there are thousands of people in this state alone that are going through every day what they went through, that are trapped in various, bedridden for 3 years, beaten and electrocuted every day, supernatural electricities in my brain and spine. Sometimes for as many as 4 or 5 days in a row, the electricity would never stop. Stabbed on the inside, burned on the inside, continuously bled on the inside, kept weak where I couldn't do anything. The yoga foundation in the world is Self-Realization Fellowship, and they claim that Christ is the centerpiece next to Krishna, and it's a huge non-sectarian group. They have a giant place up on Mount Washington for years. I actually inherited half the book trust, became the main editor for one branch of the organization. And in my investigation into their writings, I found some really rotten things. When I faced them with it, then they cursed me. They sicked the demons on me. And it was a huge battle. And for years, every morning, they would wake me up. They would never let me sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a night because they would beat on me constantly.
These people?
No.
Evil spirits.
Some of them as tall as 15 feet. I would see them in coats of mail with teeth this long that curled like this and huge swords. They would stab me and stick me and bleed me constantly like that. And it was always a matter of renouncing Christ. They did their best to try to get me to renounce the Lord for years. They would speak to me so sweetly. You know, if you do this and you change and you renounce the Lord, then we'll do this. Otherwise, the beatings are going to commence, and they would. It just went on endlessly. And finally, Father Mike Sears came along. He was the only priest that would really take the responsibility. I was so bad.
How about Jim Freeze and other denominations?
Oh, all the other denominations that tried to help me. They actually sent to the Catholic Church to try to find somebody to help me. All the other the main deliverance ministries, Fuller University, Shepherd's House, right here, Jim Freeze, travels the world and helps with the more minor demons, but I had the occult demons, and they couldn't deal with them. So finally, Father Mike Sears, who battles them all day long for people, usually the Santeros, the demons that come out of Mexico attached to the old works in Mexico. And the demons jumped on him and did him a pretty good number right at the spot. And I got up and I headed for the door, you know. And he grabbed me and I just said, you know what, if you're going to get hurt, I'm not going to stay. And he said, no, we're going to go through this together and I'm not letting you go. And at that time, I couldn't get around it all. I couldn't drive a car. And what they can do to your mind, they can make you insane in 1 minute. You know, it's like Down syndrome. You just totally go into this old warped state of mind and you can't think straight. So every time I would go see Father Mike, they would hit him pretty hard, you know. And he took it. But he finally got to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. He began seeking an exorcism for me from Father LaBar. Have you heard of him?
No.
In New York. He's really the church's main exorcist in the country. And he has a group of 10 priests usually, and they're really centered in one place because the political arena doesn't like the idea. They don't accept it. And a lot of the Protestant groups, especially the atheistic politicians, they want to do everything they can to try to expose this as false. But Father LaBar is used by the bishops around the country, and he'll send a priest in when it's bad. They did the year that I got my deliverance at Dominic's hands. Well, it was the Lord's, but you were the instrumental person. They did 68 exorcisms, Father LaBar and his group. In this country alone, they did 68 exorcisms. But I spoke with him, and he wouldn't give me an exorcism. And I mean, they could, every morning when I got up, because I knew they were there, I could feel my whole body would start trembling with the electrical currents. They have this energy that's called Shakti energy in Hindu, and they can just zap you with it, and so bad my teeth would chatter, you know, demoniac shudderings. And they would hypnotize me just like this, you know, and I could see the dimension open and see right into hell. And I would sit right in front of Satan, and sometimes he would lecture me for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. He would reach in my body and grab my heart and squeeze it until I was almost dead, and he would do that over and over, sometimes 50 times in a day. And just as I was almost dead, almost going, see my spirit going, he would let me out. and then he would do it again and let me up. And he really worked me over like that for a long time. And sometimes he would send these what Father Mike called princes in their ranks. And the way they were adorned, it was just unbelievable.
You mean medical help, living help?
No,
Psychiatric help.
Father Homsch, you know who he is, Father John Homsch? He said, you know, this is the work of Christ and no doctors can help. You know? And he had been an exorcist at one point, but the bishop had taken him from that and he was doing these other works. And he connected me with the first charismatic lady, Noelle Cords, here with the SCRC, and she tried to help me. She wrote a letter back to the bishops and to Father Pharisee in Rome that I had a spirit of sadism, and they were really hard to eliminate. But he put lesser demons with me, and when I wouldn't submit during the day, they would say, we're going to have to call on you. And this one would show up, and I'll tell you, he looked like a spaceman, the way he was dressed. I mean, just the chrome-colored garb that he wore. And when he showed up, I couldn't move in bed. It was like a stone on top of me. And what it did to my brain, it was like a hot razor blade going through my brain. The pain was so bad. It really felt like somebody was ripping my brain and my insides with a hot razor blade. Until I urinated, pus in streams like cream of wheat for months from the dead blood cells on the inside, which is constantly going through it. And finally, I got as far as Father Mike, and he took it for, I guess, about 6 months, once a week, and they really were getting him good. They just jump right on him, you just really right in the chair. It's really hard to withstand that. And one day he just, Lord, help. This was right after Father LeBar had turned us down in exorcism. And Father Pharisee didn't offer anything out of Rome. And I was ready. I had people that would take me anywhere in the world if I could get the help. And one day, Father Mike walks by the chapel, and he hears somebody there talking about demons, and he peeks in, and Dominic is on the pulpit. There's like 4 or 5 people in there, and that was all. A few people. So he waits, and Dominic comes out, and he goes up to Dominic, and he says, you know, I have a really, really bad case, the worst that any of us have ever seen, and I'm wondering if you could help. And Dominic goes, no,
Actually,
I can't help, but maybe the Lord can help. He said, if the Lord does it, he said, so I'll go home and pray. And so he contacts Father Mike, and Father Mike calls me up, and of course I had gotten all of this from a Hindu guru that's the most powerful mystic in the world, Hariharananda, out of Puri, India. And he's a Kali worshiper, and so he has demons readily at hand to curse anybody. That he's one of those feared gurus in all of India. And
Peter was a great healer. He healed a lot of celebrities.
yeah. Oh yes, I had that. They had given me all kinds of magical powers. I was practically sainted in this country. And that.
Performing healings through the evil spirit.
Exactly. No, the Shakti energy would flow right through me. Cancers would vanish, and crippled people would get up and walk. And it's a beautiful side to evil, so to speak.
You done great miracle.
But the whole time I truly believed in Christ, because Christ was the centerpiece, that it was all, I never left my Christian faith in my heart. That's why they tried to get me to renounce against me, because they see that, they believe that the demoniac forces were there to make us pay for our bad karma, as they put it. And so it was all what I had to go through in order to work my problem out, and I should just humble myself rather than fighting and resisting and trying to expose the evils I found in the institution. But I persisted, and that's why I got it as bad as I did. So Father Mike, anyway, Father Mike calls me up one day, and he goes, I think I found someone to help you. And I go, oh, you really? Seriously? He goes, yes. He said, but I have to tell you, he's a Hindu man. So I just said, Father Mike, come on, don't tease me. And he goes, not only that, his father was a Brahmin priest.